When it comes to Amphibia, it seems like there's quite a few unanswered questions, but there's a lot of answers that we'll probably get through interviews and Marcy's journal. For example, just yesterday, there was a Matt Brawley interview, I believe on Instagram. Now, I have yet to see the entire interview yet. I've only seen clips of it because I don't use Instagram, so I'll have to track down that interview somehow. Because it was like a partial Q&A, and I'm really interested in seeing what answers Matt had for the fans. But we got a very interesting image from Marcy's journal. It's this hidden scroll, apparently, that will be featured in Marcy's journal. And it's an entire page full of Amphibia's writing. Before we get into that though, I know one other thing that the community's freaking out about. We just had Marcy with her middle name revealed to be Regina recently. And then just yesterday, apparently Sasha's middle name is Elizabeth.
Sasha have a middle name?
Elizabeth. Was that ever, is that...
People are asking.
Was that ever said anywhere else? I feel like it was.
And that's funny because I think there was like a joke in the community. Everyone was joking about how Sasha's middle name is going to be Elizabeth, and it turned out that was the case. Yes, it's inspired by Disney TVA's VP of Development, Elizabeth Wainwright Taylor. So, pretty interesting stuff. So now we have the entire full names of the Calamity Trio being Anne Savisa Boonchoy, Sasha Elizabeth Wainwright, and Marcy Regina Wu. Everyone's got their full names revealed. It's pretty funny. Anyways, back to this image here. I'll be using an image that has been translated by Blyer on Twitter, so thank you very much, Blyer. So let's read through this real fast. The inventor of the box, the wisest newt of them all. She managed to unite the kingdoms under one banner, a banner of interdimensional conquest and ambition. Peace came to Amphibia, and with it a golden age. However, this peace led to the conquest and subjugation of other worlds. The inventor of the box faded into obscurity, burdened by guilt and sadness. It is said that even her death could not hinder the quest for redemption, and that she still travels the world in spectral form alongside her winged purple companion to this very day. What is her duty? Will her soul ever find peace? So, that is some pretty heavy lore right there. It is revealed that Valeriana, the very spooky lady who knew a lot about the Calamity Box, even helped Anne charge one of the stones, that she made the Calamity Box. Really interesting stuff. So this is at the very beginning, I guess you could say. If you think about like Andreas and Aldrich and their ancestors' legacy, it all started with Valeriana. And there's so much here. There's a lot here. Starting from the beginning, we know that she is the inventor of the box, and she is the wisest newt of them all. That means if she were to join the core, that would have been very problematic for our heroes, because if you think about it, the core didn't know that much about how the stones worked, but that makes you wonder, what happens if Valeriana joined in with the core, because she was so smart? She didn't join in with the core because she left burdened by guilt and sadness, as it says in the middle, but it just makes me think, what if she did join? If she joined with the core, they honestly probably would have been unstoppable, because then the core would have known everything to know about the Calamity Box. They just didn't know because the inventor left and probably didn't tell anybody how it worked. It then says she managed to unite the kingdoms under one banner, a banner of interdimensional conquest and ambition. Peace came to Amphibia, and with it a golden age. However, this peace led to the conquest and subjugation of other worlds. Yeah, so this is quite interesting, because when we look at The Core and the King, that episode, we see in Utopia, it's not just newts, right? We see frogs like Leaf, we see toads like Beryl. All three species, or all three main species of Amphibia, frogs, newts, and toads, they're all united under one banner, and that is the work of Valeriana. When it came to Andreas being the peacekeeper, his social hierarchy changed, where he had the newts at the very top, the toads in the middle, as like a military force, and the frogs at the very bottom. But before that, they were all together. There were no differences, or no major differences between the two. And that was because of Valeriana. She united everybody. And that's just so cool. Like, when the entire world comes together for one goal, it just makes sense, especially when that goal is interdimensional travel and being able to take resources from other planets to give a common goal to the entirety of Amphibia. But then this is where things get interesting. The inventor of the box faded into obscurity, burdened by guilt and sadness. And then basically, even after she died, her spectral form, her ghost, if you will, stayed in the world to try and restore Amphibia to its rightful state, or do something, or fix her mistakes, I suppose. which I find to be really interesting because after a while, Valeriana must have known that conquest is bad, taking over other planets. At first, she thought it was probably going to be a good thing because it would have helped support Amphibia, but at the cost of other entire planets' lives and such, it can be rough. So she was burdened by that guilt and sadness and decided, I'm done, and left into obscurity, meaning that no one knew where she was. I just find it interesting because maybe she also saw the society around her as well, being so content with just taking and stealing from these other planets, and maybe she saw that their greed would increase. I don't know if maybe she was a royal, but regardless if she wasn't, she could have ended up being in the core, because the core is not just his ancestors, because it's his ancestors and the wisest newts of Amphibia. And maybe it's around this time that the core started to become a thing, or very soon after, surely. Like, for example, let's say it was Valeriana working together with the royalty of a Newtopia, and this ancient king/queen was getting super greedy, wanting to take more and more worlds, and Valeriana was like, no, let's only take what we need, maybe, or just, I don't know, she just probably knew something was wrong. This is me stretching it a bit, I don't know, I'm just kind of seeing what could happen, because I think, like, with this lore, you can kind of piece together what you think happened, and I think, like, something like this might have, I don't know, it's really interesting to think about how one page just, like, makes my brain, makes its gears turn with theories once again, because I missed this with Amphibia, and I really like this, how there's gonna be more lore like this in the book, and I want my brain to keep turning and, turning the gears in my head, because when I was watching through Amphibia before it ended, I was constantly thinking about this show, man, every single second, like theories, what's gonna happen? What could happen? When are these characters gonna get their Calamity powers? Like, questions upon questions, and now I feel like I have that again a little bit, that feeling just a little bit again, just from one page of writing. It's so cool how, Matt will go on to do these interviews every single once in a while and sort of revive, I don't know, maybe revive, because like, it's been a bit stale with Amphibia lately, because there hasn't been like, the show's ended, so there's only so much content out there. But then like with these little snippets of the journal coming out, things just get super interesting. But anyway, back to the point. Valeriana could have been in the core, but she left. And then once the king/queen realized that their time was up, they didn't want it to end. They wanted to see this legacy continue. So they decided, hey, let's make this core thing. I even wonder, like, maybe Valeriana could have been the creator of the core? That would have been really interesting too. Like, she created the Calamity Box. What if she created the core too? That would have been really interesting to see. And maybe like that was the final step to making her leave, because she would have had to experiment with like the shadowfish and whatnot. So something that she already didn't want to do, but now she has to like mess with these creatures, and it's like it was too much for her. Maybe that was the final straw. It's like after doing all that, after creating the core, and it also would have been nice like thematically, because she created the Calamity Box, or used the stones basically to create this Calamity Box and also create the core. So it's interesting because then technically she would bring the heroes from the other worlds, but then she would also create the greatest evil of Amphibia. It's interesting to think about. And then the whole thing about her being dead, that's really interesting too, because, she's obviously the wisest newt of them all. It's a time in the Bazaar where she says, like, I've seen and heard it all, which is really interesting. But if you think specifically about the Heart Temple, or whatever, the Temple of the Heart, when she's charging the stone and Valeriana knows what Anne has done, where she says like, oh, you stole Hot Pop's wallet that one time, you drove the family snail, you got out of a day of work. I found that to be really interesting, because how did she know that? How would she know that? Not just because, oh, I'm smart, but she's dead. She's a ghost. She's in her spectral form. Now, I don't know how ghost lore works in Amphibia, but like, if you're a ghost, you can surely watch over like many things, right? And considering Valeriana is very, wanting to put her soul to rest, she'd be keeping an eye on Anne and Sasha and Marcy, the heroes of the prophecy. She surely also had to create the prophecy, 100%. Like, that couldn't have been Mother Olm. Mother Olm had this prophecy, but why would she have created it? Surely she had to have heard it from Valeriana. Honestly, Mother Olm and Valeriana is an interaction we didn't get to see that I was kind of looking forward to. I don't know. When you think about it, like, every character in Amphibia sort of has at least some sort of ground to stand on when it comes to being, I guess, making sense. But Valeriana is that one character that you're just like, what are you? What are you doing here? I guess like we had that with the core for a while, but then we found out more about the core. Like every character feels very grounded, but when it comes to like the very mystical sort of side of Amphibia, the three characters that come to mind are Mother Olm, Valeriana, and obviously, you know, the god, the Three Stones deity. But like the Three Stones deity is just like, he's just a dude. Like that's kind of written in stone, I suppose. He's just a guy. And Mother Olm, I feel like a lot of what Mother Olm comes up with is not so much her own thing, but things that she's heard because she's so old. But Valeriana, specifically her, she's the wisest newt. She created this prophecy somehow. I don't know how. Maybe she had some sort of future insight. Who knows? Who knows how the prophecy was made? I just feel like she was probably the maker of it, considering she was the maker of the Calamity box. Oh my gosh, how did I not notice this before? I was just rewatching Some of the Hardest Thing, a short clip, because I was like, maybe. I want to know. Valeriana, when the Calamity box disappears, she's holding it in her hand. She looks very shocked. She's like, oh, the Calamity box is now gone. The next scene, when Polly grows her hair, it zooms into Polly, she grows her hair, then it zooms out, boom. Valeriana's gone. Because her soul's been put to rest. The Calamity box has been destroyed. She's no longer needed. And of course she doesn't appear in the time skip. That's so interesting! I don't know if it's just show lore, but like maybe she's like just off screen. But I guess it could be interpreted that. I mean, it'd be weird because if she just like spirited away, well, no one was watching. I don't know. But like, that's really interesting to think about. She's not there. She's gone. Maybe her soul did find peace right then and there. Hey, it's me, editing Zeez, completely separate entity from regular Zeez. Anyway, I talked about the whole Valeriana disappearing thing on twitter.com because I wanted to know what other people thought about this. And at 3 a.m., while I was asleep, Mr. Matt Brawley himself responded saying that this was actually 100% deliberate. So, in The Hardest Thing, Valeriana disappearing just makes sense. It is a deliberate decision because her soul finally finds peace once she's done her job. Once the Calamity box is destroyed, she has no more ties to this world, I suppose. Pretty interesting stuff. There are also some other responses that were nice. And someone pointed out that Sprig disappears as well, which is a bit strange, but I like to interpret that more as Sprig just leaving the shot, I guess. Maybe he was too sad to witness what just happened or something like that. I don't know. But he's gone. Mayor Toadstool also appears from behind Valeriana, so who knows? That's something. But yeah, she disappears. I think that's like the main takeaway is that she disappears. She also has like this spectral glow around her. If you look really closely, her character has like a little bit of a glow coming off of her. Makes it look more spectral than the other characters. I don't know. You can kind of see it if you look hard enough, but it's not super noticeable. Anyway, just wanted to throw that out there before this video comes out. Okay, well, I'm not going to take up too much more of your time. I just wanted to talk about this because I thought it was really, really cool. It makes me super stoked for Marcy's journal. I'm so excited. Anyway, that'll be it for me. I'll see you all later, everybody. Have a good one.